And bing bong, gentlemen.
I'll say it.
You'll say it?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man. How you doing? All right. Well, bing bong. Welcome to the Cineboiz podcast. We're back. We didn't podcast last week. We had a little Oscars watch party. I don't know if you saw it. It was wild. And I do want to just go ahead up front and apologize for the, what's the best way to put it? Terrible content factor about halfway through to the rest of the stream where all of us were flabbergasted and just
Tanked a little bit.
Yeah, I think we were pretty much all on our phones checking
It's not our
Twitter.
fault. Not our fault.
My favorite body language was Kenny. Kenny just kind of like melted into the couch and didn't move for like an hour.
It was
and a
awful.
half.
I felt horrible. Like I was just like, ugh, I know I'm gonna lose sleep over this. Like I knew that was gonna happen. But yeah, we'll talk about it. But hey, everybody, welcome to the Cineboiz podcast, part of the Cork Bats podcast network. We're the Cineboiz. We're the movie, TV, gaming branch of Cork Bats. And if you don't know what Cork Bats is, be sure to follow them on social media. It's at Cork Bats on Twitter, and it's
everywhere.
At Cork Bats on Instagram again, baby. We finally got it back.
Amazing. So did he already deactivate
Suck
Cork
it,
Bats
Dana
too?
White.
I don't know exactly what
No,
happened.
I think he just changed Cork Bats 2 to Cork Bats.
Okay.
My guess is the way Instagram works, like inactive accounts eventually go away.
Yeah.
And so they're up for grabs again. And if my guess, I don't know, is Austin just perpetually was checking.
That's probably smart.
Yeah.
And
Because
then
I checked
got
last
it.
night. I was like, do we still have Cork Bats 2? And I couldn't find it. So that had to be what he did.
No, because it's the same one. So
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, so Cork Bats, it's at Cork Bats on Instagram. It's no longer at Cork Bats 2, which was a whole thing for about a year and a half, but we finally got that handle back. So congratulations to Austin. I know that's a big celebration. We got a text from Austin at 11:54 last night that said, we're now at Cork Bats on Instagram, which is awesome. Jonesy Joe in the chat, good to see you. Movie Boy, Devin Heath's in the chat, good to see you. Mall Ceramics in the chat, good to see you. Yeah, guys, happy National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day to all who celebrate.
I'll celebrate later.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna, there's nothing, well, I mean, there's a lot of things better, but like a good peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you can't go wrong with it, man. It's always good.
Couple toasted slices of bread.
Ooh, that's the best. There's something
Some
about
PB,
peanut
some
butter
J.
on a toasted piece of bread that just
I agree.
amplifies everything, in my opinion. So yeah.
Bob doesn't look like he agrees.
I was gonna say he looks
Mom,
like
you're
he's
not
got
a
a dissenting
PB&J guy?
opinion.
I know Mom's a peanut butter guy.
keep the jelly. I'll just take the peanut butter.
Or just do jam. Jam's better than jelly anyway.
Keep the jam. I'll just
Okay, well,
Give
can
me
we
a
get him
nice,
out of here?
look,
Can we get him out of here?
look. I'm giving you more J. I just want the PB. You guys keep
Fine.
the J. Okay.
You're more of a preserves guy, aren't you? You like preserves with the peanut butter.
No, here's my thing. I'm not a huge fruit guy. Love me vegetables, but fruit just not kind of my.
That's wild.
thing.
I don't think anybody has that take.
Yeah.
You like
other than
veggies
Yeah,
more than
what?
fruit.
Love
Who
vegetables.
are you?
Interesting.
Huh.
Fruit
What
is
are
the
you,
natural
Tom Brady?
dessert that God gave us.
I'm a strange dude.
Fair enough. We're all a little weird, and that's okay.
That's
Hey,
true.
well, let's get to our usual housekeeping items before we get into everything. If you're watching us live on our Twitch page, thank you so much. Please consider following. This is our landing page. So this is the main page of the Cineboiz podcast. Is twitch.tv/thecинeboiz. Following costs you absolutely nothing, and you can be entered to win prizes in the future if you do. I do also want to apologize. We said we were going to give away a $25 Amazon gift card on Sunday, and then I just completely forgot. So we can blame a certain somebody.
Will
for that.
Smith slapped it out of our hands.
Yeah, he slapped the Amazon gift card out of our hands, and we weren't able to give it away. So we're going to figure out another way to give that out. Probably won't do it today, but we'll definitely do it here soon. So yeah, I mean, following costs you absolutely nothing, and essentially you're making money by following us on Twitch. But we do have a big update to our Twitch situation, which just happened this week.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
Oh, hello,
And as you can
subscriber.
see, we have our first subscriber. And what that means is that we are now officially Twitch affiliates. We did it, baby. Such hard work. So now you can subscribe to our channel. You can do more than follow. So subscribing does cost you money, but at the same time, you get access to us. You get ad-free access to us. Now that we're a big deal,
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Grandpa.
Oh, Malceramics with the subscription. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. But yeah, now if you subscribe, you get an ad-free experience. Because Twitch is like, hey, these guys are a big deal now. Let's start slapping some ads on their page.
I just think it'd be funny if, as soon as you said, "But subscribing does cost you now," if we just started losing subscribers at that point.
That would
Ooh,
be humorous.
unsubscribe. I don't want to pay for this.
Oh, well, fair enough.
Actively losing subscribers.
But yes, if you do subscribe, you will get an extra special shout out. We really do appreciate that. That goes a very long way for us because now we can make money. And we also just want to say thank you to everybody, all of our followers, everybody who showed up in the chat on Twitch for helping us get here. We really appreciate it. If you're watching us on the Corkbats YouTube page, thank you so much for joining us. Say hi in the chat. Help us
Kathy.
help.
Hello, Kathy.
Actually, she's in the Twitch chat now.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah. Get with it, dude. But if you're watching on the Corkbats YouTube page, we do simulcast every Saturday that we do a podcast to the Corkbats YouTube page. Help us continue to grow the Corkbats YouTube channel. You can like this video, write a comment if you want. Yeah. Again, costs you absolutely nothing to subscribe to YouTube, our Corkbats YouTube page. And it helps Corkbats big time. And of course, if you are unable to watch us live and listening to this as our newest podcast episode, thank you so much as well. We are the CineBoiz podcast, first and foremost, and we're part of the Corkbats Podcast Network, and you can find us wherever podcasts are found. So please consider rating, reviewing, following, subscribing. Again, costs you absolutely nothing to do that, and we love it when people write reviews. Mob, can you check, see if there's any new reviews while I'm going through all this stuff?
Own it.
Thanks, man. So yeah. Also, before we get into everything else, let's go ahead and go over our Marpril follow goals. So we are officially halfway through Marpril because it's April 2nd. As you can see, we're trying to hit 150 Twitter followers, 190 Instagram followers, and 60 Twitch followers. So we're getting close on Instagram and Twitch. We're still pretty far away on Twitter. But yeah, if you're new in the chat and you want to follow us and help us out, feel free to do that. If we hit all three of these goals by the end of Marpril, which is also the end of April, CineBoiz the musical, it's coming in May. You guys excited for CineBoiz the musical?
You know how I feel about musicals.
Would you feel differently though if you're the star?
No.
I'd feel worse about it, actually.
Yeah. I can't sing.
Okay, fair.
But I also don't have a better idea as to what we should do, so I won't say any more about it.
Well, I was going to say we go nuclear. That's a hard word to say. And if we get
You've been in Texas
1,000,
too long, bro.
if we get 1,000 of each, we do. We film Spandex Boy 4.
We should do that anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Let's not take that off the table just yet.
Well, it's certainly on the table. There's no talk of taking it off, but
And there's a little extra. If we hit our Marpril goals, we'll release one Hippo Colony music video as well.
There you go. There's so much incentive to hitting the Marpril goals. But yeah, like I said, I'm Kenny. I'm one of the co-hosts of the CineBoiz podcast. I am joined by our good friend on the East Coast, Mr. Mob. Mob, how are you?
I'm dandy.
You're dandy? That's good. What are you big on this week, Mob?
I'm big on canceling April Fools.
Yeah.
Word.
Look, here's the thing. April Fools is meant for fathers to play stupid jokes and tricks on their kids. That's it. And you know what? That's fine. Anyone else who decides to participate on playing a joke or a prank via social media or whatever should get jail time. And that's my opinion. And that's how I feel. And so people I've canceled in my life, LeBron James, David Njoku, Travis Kelce, the Movie Light podcast, all those people are dead to me right now. And I'm a Chiefs fan. So Travis Kelce, sorry, I hate you.
I hate to say this, but my internet just went out, so I missed everything you just said.
Oh, I guess you're going to have to go back and listen to it on the podcast.
No!
I agree.
Don't make me do that.
Corporations have ruined April Fool's Day.
The amount of
yes.
athletes yesterday who were like Travis Kelce posted something like, I'm retiring from football to play my baseball. It's like, it's so stupid. Like, no, you're not.
No, you're
LeBron
not.
James was like, I'm out for the rest of the season. See you next fall.
If you're gonna do that, at least put some effort into it and like try and make it seem real.
And David Njoku did the worst because he said something that like could have been a legit report. He was like, I've asked for a trade. He's been franchise tagged. So a lot of times when those guys get franchise tags, they do ask for a trade. And then later he's like, haha, just kidding. I'm here forever. It's
It'd
like,
be so
shut up.
funny if they actually traded him.
Yeah.
Like, deal.
Cool.
You will get rid
If
of
I
him.
saw that post on Twitter, I would trade him.
Yeah. It's like a game
He's
of chicken.
gone.
Why did they franchise tag him in the first place?
Not a sports podcast, but I don't know.
What a move.
Yeah. Zoetropes in the chat says April Fool's is a big stinko. Totally agree with you. And good
sure.
to see you, Zoe.
Ugh,
For sure.
Yeah.
really grinds my gears.
Understandable, man. Well, Mob, thank you so much. Let's move on to our good friend with the sick lights, Mr. Kevin. Kevin, how are you today?
I'm great, Kenny. Thanks for asking.
Good. What are you big on this week?
This week, I'm big on. So the World Cup groups got announced yesterday, and the U.S. plays England the day after Thanksgiving, and I'm honestly very excited. I know most of the world doesn't care about. At least most of the world does care about soccer. Most of the United States doesn't seem to care about soccer, but I'm personally very excited. I think it's going to be interesting to have this World Cup in the fall because it's competing with other sports. So I'm interested to see how that works out.
Yeah.
But I think Cork Bats posted it yesterday. One of the all-time greatest commercials ever was aired last time the U.S. played England, and it was the Dodge commercial where it's the Revolutionary War and George Washington's driving a Charger, and it's just such a good commercial. Still holds up today. But I'm just excited for soccer. I love soccer. Hopefully, maybe I'll turn this into a soccer podcast one day. But yeah, World Cup, the footy.
The footy. You don't have to turn us into a soccer podcast. You can just start a soccer podcast. Okay.
I'll just slowly
We'll call
move
it
this
corked
into soccer.
boots. Because
Ooh, kind of like
you boot
that.
the ball. And yeah,
Cork boots.
cork boots, baby.
I like
Nice.
that a lot.
Maul says go USA. We agree.
Yeah.
We all live in the USA, I think.
Maybe.
Cool. Well, thank you, Kevin. Really appreciate that. And then let's go. Why don't we go over to Tom? Tom,
Yeah,
how you doing, buddy?
not bad.
What are you big on this week?
So actually, I just found this out this morning, but apparently our good friend of the show, Alex, he has a neighbor who was in like 4 movies in the 70s. And because of that, he's a member of the Academy and gets the movie like screeners sent to him.
What?
And it's just like, that's awesome. I want to aspire to be in just like the bare minimum amount of movies and do the least amount of work, but still get to be in the Academy.
Yeah.
That way I can get the screeners because
Yeah,
that sounds
screeners.
awesome.
Yeah. That would save me a ton of time.
Yeah.
I have like memberships and stuff like that to where I can go see movies for really cheap, so that's great. And so I can start writing reviews. But to get the screeners would be so much better.
Yes, I
so-
agree.
so
that's what I want.
My
So-
my actual goal right now is to get into, and this is not a joke, I'm actually trying to do this. I'm trying to get into the Austin Film Critics Society. And so there's
Nice.
some parameters I have to meet in order to do that. But I'm thinking once I do that, I should get screeners. Or I'll have access to special press screenings. So
Be awesome.
what are the
Fingers
parameters?
crossed.
What do you have to do? I'm curious.
So for that, I think you have to. The big thing is that you have to write reviews, obviously, and you have to write. I think it's 2 reviews per month over a 6-month period, and you have to write it for an outlet that you do not own. So luckily, having access to Cork Bats, I have that. You also have to have an Austin address in order to join Austin Film Critics Society. So that's the goal. I'm hoping
Cool.
by September, October, I'm going to apply for membership and see what happens. So fingers crossed on that. But Tom,
yeah,
thank you. I'm glad you're here, man.
pleasure.
Well,
Happy
that's
to be
it.
here.
We don't have anything else to talk
Yeah,
about in this regard, do
no.
we? Should we
No
just
need.
move on?
No need.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here we go. Moving on.
Hold on. Hold your horses just 1 second. I just thought of something. Kenny,
Yeah.
I like your hair.
Thanks,
Looks
man.
good today.
Really appreciate
What
that.
are you big on?
I'll tell you what I'm big on.
Yeah, let me have it.
I recently, in the past few weeks, have really gotten back into Survivor. I think I watched
Nice.
like the first and second season way back in the day when I was a kid. And I just kind of stopped watching. And then I had a friend who was like, hey, do you watch Survivor? And I was like, nah, not really. And they're like, I feel like you would really like Survivor. So I was like, okay. And so they have a ton of seasons on Hulu. So I went ahead and went back and watched like the most recent season. And Yeah, I'm hooked again. Like I'm all about Survivor. It's the best. It's like physical challenge plus like a little bit of like a mafia aspect to it. And like,
Strategy involves is actually very interesting to me.
yeah, it's so great. Like we just watched an episode where there was like a big twist, double blind turn, kind of like blindside thing that happened during tribal council. And I was
Wait,
like,
a white family took in a black athlete. You said it had a blindside aspect.
Ah.
Nice.
got
I didn't
me
know
there.
where you were
That's
going with
exactly
that. I did
what
not
happened.
either.
I was like, where is this
I
going?
thought this was about to get wild.
Okay. But no, it was like, oh man, this is addicting. So yeah, super high on Survivor right now. I'm super big on it. So if you have been wondering, hey, should I get back into Survivor? If you haven't been watching for years, absolutely you should. So consider that. We've got 666 666 666 666 666 666 6666 in the
Nice.
chat saying the real Pazevinks, which I don't know what that means, but welcome. Good to see you. And then that's what we're big on. So we got that out of the way. What do you say we get
What do
in?
you say?
We get in to the headlines of the week. What do you guys say?
What do you say?
I wonder what those are going to be.
Okay, I'll take that as a
Nothing.
yes.
What do you say?
Nothing happened this week.
Oh yeah,
Pretty
totally
boring.
nothing. Absolutely nothing happened. Oh, except for like everything happened this week, and we got a lot to talk about, Kevin. Okay, well the first big thing, let's talk about this Top Gun Maverick trailer. Am I right? Did you guys see this?
Yeah, looks
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Looks good.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I am, when they announced this movie, I was like, okay, cool, Top Gun. And then seeing this trailer, I'm like kind of legitimately excited for this movie.
Yeah.
So one of my probably least popular movie takes is I don't like Top Gun.
Okay.
I just don't enjoy it. I think it got hyped up and then I watched it and I was like, really this? So when they said, oh yeah, we're coming out with like a sequel, I was like, okay. And then I watched the preview and those aerial shots are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they're real.
I'm
Yeah.
usually not team, remake. I guess it's not a remake, it's a sequel.
It is
but
sequel.
this is one of those movies that you can just make way better 30 years later.
Yep.
Yeah.
When
Totally
was it made?
agree.
Longer
86.
than 30 years.
Yes,
so almost 40.
86.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
He looks good.
Yeah, Tom Cruise looks
He
still
doesn't
looks
really
good.
age. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is confusing to me because in this movie he looks really good, but then you show that shot of him at the Dodgers game or whatever. and
Well,
he
that
looked-
was Norm
Looks
Macdonald.
like Norm Macdonald.
fair enough. Zoe's in the chat saying, "OMG, John Hamm is in this." Yes, John Hamm is in it.
Preach.
Yeah, it's got a lot of people in it.
Yeah,
Love John Hamm.
It looks really good, and It was filmed in 8K.
Yeah.
So
Didn't even know that was real.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think I might try to go see it in like a big IMAX theater or something like that.
At what point do we reach the maximum K?
What is
How
Max
many?
K?
I don't know. I mean, I guess infinity, but like there reaches a certain point of like diminishing returns where
Yeah.
16K can't really be much better than 8K, right?
I
Yeah,
would assume.
Like I thought 4K was pretty peak, and now we're in 8K.
yeah. It's wild.
Remember when 1080p was all that?
Yeah, I remember seeing when we went to the store. I think it might have been freshman year of college, and they had a Blu-ray set up with Spider-Man 3, and looking at the screen and being like, "This is pristine.
This
How do
I
we get
remember
away
watching-
from this?"
I remember watching things on Blu-ray for the first time, thinking like, "This
Yeah.
looks too real."
Yeah.
I'm
This
I'm
is the
uncomfortable with
height
how real it
of
looks.
luxury.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And Jonesy
I
just
gotta
says,
say one thing
Oh,
about 4K.
Mhm.
It makes my job a real bummer
really?
because everything file sizes are way bigger now. Things are harder to deal with. I
Yeah.
miss 1080p. You know?
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm sorry that's such a bummer for you. Jonesy
That's
Jones in the
my,
chat saying, "I remember seeing that in El Paso with your Didi." I'm assuming that's my dad. But yeah, that's a long time ago.
It makes more sense. That's Kathy.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Kathy. Yeah, she's in the Twitch chat. You
Wait,
ass.
what did she say?
She said,
I
"I remember
didn't-
seeing that in El Paso with your DD,"
Mm.
which I assume to mean my father.
Daddy.
Yeah. Well, cool. So go check out Top Gun Maverick in theaters. I believe Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. man.
Mhm.
So. Ooh, that is not the right thing. Guys, why don't you talk amongst yourselves real quick? I got to make a quick technical edit here.
Mob, I don't think that's a terrible take to have because it's the original Top Gun's fine.
I think just like
it just
In the
isn't
80s,
what it
it was
used to be.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
also didn't see it until college, and so I think a
Same.
lot of people had a lot of nostalgia with
Yeah.
it, and so they were
Yes.
like, "It's awesome! Let's get together, watch Top Gun." And I'm this like 20-year-old coming into it who has seen way better movies, like better done, better acted, all that stuff, and I'm watching it and I'm like, "This is stupid."
Yeah.
So I think it was timing of when I saw it, as opposed to who the people I was watching it with and how much they loved it, because I probably grew up watching it. I didn't.
Yeah, that's
I'm,
fair.
I'm similar. Like I didn't see it till I was probably 20 or 21.
Right.
And things just, if you go back and people are better at acting now. Action scenes are better than they used to be. It used to be pretty painful sometimes if you go back
Yeah.
and watch movies that are older than probably 20, 25 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I think it was one of those things where like because I didn't see it till I was in college and it had always been built up for me as well. And so at the time I did remember thinking when I saw it, like, oh yeah, this is a great movie. But I think I was just still so caught up in the hype about it that I've seen it since. It's just like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I mean, the shirtless volleyball scene, all-time classic, but otherwise.
Yeah. Zoe's in the chat says, yeah, as a video editor, I kind of hate having to have a billion hard drives for backing up all of my projects, and I never work in 4K, just 1080. So there you go, Kev. Justice.
That really gets it.
And then 100% true in the YouTube chat saying, bottom right dude looks like a traffic officer with the mustache. You're not wrong.
Stop.
That is 100% true. 100% true.
Yeah, I'm a police officer in my spare time.
All right. Moving on. Other
Volunteer.
news this week.
Volunteer sheriff's deputy.
Other news this week. So kind of some sad news. So Bruce Willis is officially retiring from acting due to health reasons. So he was diagnosed with aphasia, which is a degenerative brain disease, I believe. And
I think it's similar to Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Similar to Alzheimer's.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big bummer. I know we've made jokes at Bruce's expense here on the podcast in the past.
Yeah, now I feel bad.
Did you see the Razzies took away that whole
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
And
rescinded
it's like,
it.
I get it now. He was pumping out movies because he was making them while he still had time left.
Right.
And he just had to make as many as he could. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And even then, like they say, I was reading an article the other day that for like several years, like, people were noticing he's not that great anymore.
Yeah.
Like cognitively, they could tell.
Yeah,
something
what's
was
the
off.
last, good Bruce Willis movie you can think of? It's been a while.
I don't know. But
Like-
there was an article that said, it basically said when he was filming Glass, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, that people could already tell. And that was like, what,
Yeah.
3-4 years
That
ago?
was
Yeah.
maybe longer even.
Yeah. So it's sad. And like I said, we've made some jokes at Bruce's expense. Here's what I'm going to say. I stand by the jokes. They're funny. But at the same time,
I mean, a bad movie is a bad movie.
yeah, from everything I've read this week from people like coming out and saying things about him, he's a solid dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
you never hear anything bad about him.
Right.
Right.
The jokes about him weren't like the jokes we make about
No,
Jared
it's just
Leto, who we
anytime you-
actually hate.
Right.
Pump out.
Right.
He
It was
averaged
just
like
about
8
him.
movies
And
We
like-
a
love
year.
Bruce Willis.
I do remember like a year or two ago when there was that whole kerfuffle when he was like asked to leave a place because he wasn't wearing a mask. I'm looking at that differently now, wondering if maybe he was just like confused and like was not
Didn't
sure
quite
what was going
understand
on.
what was going on.
And wasn't like
Yeah.
intentionally trying to like be a dick or anything. He just, was not in a great spot.
Yeah. Understandable. Well, best of health to Bruce and his family. We know they're watching. So,
Man, it feels like he died.
yeah, it stinks. It's a bummer.
Did anybody, speaking of Jared Leto just a second ago, I talked to Tom about this already today, but did anybody see that tweet about Jared Leto visiting his Morbius Discord community in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I saw that. That was hilarious.
So funny. There's a Morbius Discord,
I might
What?
join it today. I'm going to go see it.
and the picture is like him in like a half full theater, and everyone's like holding up Morbius shirts, and he looks so uncomfortable.
He's like, what is it? What is this? That dude doesn't own a computer.
My favorite story ever is still him going on like that 40-day silent retreat in like February of 2020, and he came back and had no idea that there was a pandemic going on.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
He was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah. 100%
I
true.
aspire to be like that.
Back in the chat, Maul and Kathy saying this is sad. Yeah, agreed. It's a bummer. And then 100% true in the chat says top right dude looks good. Should consider opening a grooming channel for men.
Am I what? Where am I on the? That's Kenny, right?
Yeah, I
Or
think I'm
Tom?
the top right guy.
Where are we on the
I'm,
screen?
I'm on the top left.
Yeah, so Tom is top left. Kev, you
I'm
are bottom
bottom.
right.
Okay, I'm gonna
Mob
arrange
is
this.
bottom left.
Like
And I am top right. So 100% true. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the compliment. It is funny. I'll just kind of share a side note about my looks.
Since you asked,
Last week I was out and about, and this guy I was talking to just randomly, he just goes, "Do you ever get that you look like Paul Rudd?" And I was like, "Believe it or not, I get it a lot." So
it is your doppelganger.
yeah, I am people's sexiest man alive. Doppelganger.
I will say, ever since I grew this mustache, the amount of dudes in public that comment on it it's pretty stunning and hilarious.
Here's the thing that I've noticed as I've gotten older. So like when there's like a guy who like either looks like he's groomed well or is like in really, really good shape, I guarantee you no woman gives a shit. But every dude notices the other dude who looks really good or is in really good shape and has to comment.
I just get like, I'll go to the grocery store and I'll get like 3 nice mustache dudes, like just from random, and they're usually over the age of 40.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know what that says.
I think it's probably also like some guys wish they could, but can't, either because of genetics or a spouse.
Yeah.
So
they're like, when they see you with your mustache, they're like, good for that guy.
Here's the key. Just don't ask permission.
There you go.
Just do it.
Fair enough.
I haven't shaved in a week though, so like,
And it's
not
coming in
happening.
strong.
Good, man. You got to
Coming in
chin
strong.
chin. Amal says, I notice a nice mustache, but I'm not going to tell a stranger.
I'm just not going to
Yeah.
comment on strangers' appearances like
Fair.
ever. But people feel very comfortable talking to me about my face.
Yeah.
There's people I've never met.
I think there's just a difference with just, in particular, like white heterosexual cisgendered men is like, yeah, we want to like comment on other dudes. Like, I just think that's a thing. I could be wrong. I could be way off base, but I feel like I comment on hot dudes more than my fiance does.
Did I tell you guys I went to see a movie at Hollywood last week and a guy told me I looked like Tom Selleck? And I was like, holy shit.
That was like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Maybe what? Time's irrelevant to me. That's all the same.
And Molly also says
It was
you do
probably
have
like a
very
month
nice
ago.
stash. Oh man. Well,
People will just say anything to you
yeah.
nowadays.
Fair enough. Well, in other sad retirement news, not as sad,
Less sad.
Because who knows how long it'll really stick.
right. But Jim Carrey announced that he's probably retiring. I've done enough, he says.
I think I believe him.
Yeah.
I think he's fed up with Hollywood.
Yeah, did you
I
see
know
his
he
interview
is.
after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
He's
worked
He-
out.
This is
He's been
stupid.
fed up for a couple of years, I think,
Yeah.
to be honest. And I can't imagine he needs the money.
Yeah.
No,
I think he's
they're
a
doing
pretty
just fine.
I think he's a pretty centered guy. Like he's just
He's a
like,
pretty successful artist now. Have
Yeah.
you guys seen his studio?
They're actually pretty impressive.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
And-
cool.
And he said like, yeah, that was one of the reasons. He's like, I'd rather just do that right now. Just work on his art. So
I don't think he's done.
yeah,
I think he's
gonna
done
come back.
right now.
He's gonna
like,
come back. Yeah.
He may not make a movie for 5 years or something, but he's not like retired.
Right. He's gonna come back for that Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
I was just about to
Sonic's
ask
gonna be
what
a-
the
there's
last
gonna be a
movie he
third
made
Sonic,
was, but it's
and
Sonic.
He'll be back. Like there's very few of these. We were talking about this pre-show. There's very few that I like. If they say I'm retired, they stay retired. Like they always come back for like 1 or 2 more movies. They may not make as many as they were at the same clip, but they always come back to like.
Yeah,
1
maybe
or
he's
2.
retired from being the leading role. Maybe that's what.
Maybe.
That's what he wasn't that in
Like-
Sonic, but
Like if
It was,
they make a the Cable Guy remake or something, like he's gonna come back for a cameo in that, like he did for the Super Bowl commercial. Like it's just he's not done.
Yeah.
yeah, I would argue that cameos you can still be in retirement and make cameos almost.
Yeah.
Nah.
My definition of like retired as an actor is like I'm not going to take on leading roles anymore. Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that makes
when's
sense.
the last? Does Sonic count as a leading role?
Okay, maybe not leading
I
role,
don't
but
know.
something that you could be nominated for an Oscar for in an acting category. So
does
leading or
Sonic
supporting
count
I
for
suppose.
that?
Technically, I think he could have been nominated for best supporting actor.
Could he have been?
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with Jim Carrey. Some 100% true in the YouTube chat. You know what? I'm not going to read that.
Gene Hackman did retire, and he actually retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still
It's
alive, which blew my mind.
Unfortunate that his last movie was that one with Ray Romano.
Yeah, Welcome to Mooseport,
Yeah.
something like that. Moose Town, Moose Butt.
Yeah. So, you know, other than those things, nothing really else happened this week. You know, no other news
Light
stories.
week of news.
Yeah, really nothing
Pretty
to talk
slow.
about, except for probably the biggest thing to happen news-wise with the movies since we started this podcast. I don't know if you guys know this, but Will Smith smacked Chris Rock at the Oscars last week, and since
Not
that
been good.
moment, there has
That's
just
cold slap.
it's just been a crazy timeline. 100% true in the chat says, great show, brothers. Keep it up. He also did mention that he thinks that the podcast would improve if the top left dude visited the barber.
How dare you? I was just at the barber.
I like that this is
yesterday.
an appearance-based podcast now.
Yeah.
Right. I do appreciate the look comments. It helps us in a way. Tom, I think you look great though.
I
Yeah.
know I look great.
I would argue
change.
that keep the beard growing.
Yeah, keep it growing, man.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks though, because that's really poor timing. Because I'm actually planning on shaving it off here soon,
Oh yeah,
and I
Aw,
don't want it to be
Tom.
because people think
right. 100%
looks
true.
bad.
Come back to see Tom shaved and then tell us how you feel.
Yeah, if
But he
there's
also
one thing I
said-
know about
yeah.
Tom, he marches to the beat of his own
Yeah,
drum. He's not
100%
going to do
true.
anything.
Again, also saying great show, brothers. Keep it up. Lots of hearts in the chat. We appreciate that. 100% true. Well, we're really glad you're here. Yeah. So keep coming back. We like hanging out with you. So yeah, the
Also-
Oscars slap.
I'm the only one who didn't get rated by 100% true. but
100%
whatever.
true. Can you give a rating to the bottom left guy, or excuse me,
Bottom
bottom
left.
left?
Boy, we're all
What are your
boys
thoughts?
on this podcast.
Okay. So yeah, this slap. Here's the question. I've got it queued up. Do you want me to play the slap? Because I feel
I've
like we've
seen it about
1,000
100,000 times. Yeah.
can't get
But
it
you know
out of
what?
my
Our
head.
listeners don't watch movies or maybe even the Oscars.
And they
so
might have missed it. So let's
That's
just
true.
go
They're
ahead and
on
play
the
it.
internet.
Let's just go ahead and play
that's
it.
true.
Night,
That's true.
Javier Bardem
Here
and
you
his
go.
wife are both nominated.
I think this is the
Now, if
unedited
she
version
loses, he can't
Nice.
win.
as well. It's like kind of
He
giving
is
me like
praying
PTSD
that
to
Will
watch
Smith
this.
wins. Like, please.
Funny thing
I
is
can't tell you
watching-
how many
You know
times I
what?
watched
Molly
the
says she
clip.
doesn't want to
Jada,
watch
I
it.
love you.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna not watch it.
Yeah,
You've
I've
seen
seen
it. You get it. You understand what happens. It was wild. Caught us all off guard. Just go watch our reaction video. That's probably going to be the better. So we did have a
Also,
live reaction
Austin
to it.
put out a great breakdown. It's like very in depth about the slap on
Yeah.
cork bats.
Yeah. So yeah, it's incredibly awkward and uncomfortable. And yeah, you see our reactions. If you go to either our Instagram at the Cineboiz or at Cork Bats on Instagram, you can see the reaction video and then also a breakdown of the slap. So we highly recommend you do that. So yeah. So that happened. So I think what would be good is if we just went through a timeline from that moment up to where we're at today, because a lot has happened since that. A lot of fallout, a lot of news stories coming out. So obviously the slap happens. Then Will Smith gets up. He gives maybe the most uncomfortable acceptance speech of all time. And
A vessel for love, but
He's a
also
ve-
I'll slap the crap out of you.
Yeah,
if
the
you-
most contradictory part was when he said, "You live in this, work in this business. You have to learn to expect like disrespect, and you just got to roll with the punches." But like, bro, like you smacked a guy for insult.
right.
I don't know.
I mean, he tried to spin zone it hard. You could tell his
Yeah.
team was hard at work in that 30-minute gap
So
because they were like, "I'm
right.
a protector and I'm the
Yeah.
Richard Williams of this family."
Not a
which
good
I heard
move.
somebody comment like on, I think it was like the Big Picture podcast or whatever. Like they said like that was kind of, I haven't seen the movie yet, but like they didn't like that because that kind of like manipulates Richard Williams' story.
Yeah. And then
Well,
just
also,
like-
if you do watch the movie, I'm gonna spoil maybe a little bit of it, but like there's a point where someone comes
spoiled.
up and says stuff about his daughters, and he specifically doesn't fight back.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And then
That
he
is
later goes on
hilarious.
to fight back, but something happens to where he's like, he realizes that wasn't the right move.
Right.
So it's really weird that he used Richard Williams in that moment, where in the movie it shows that violence wasn't the right way to fight back to literal like antagonizing a family.
Right.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's just a spin zone. He was scrambling for anything to say.
Yeah. So
But
that whole speech.
you're totally right.
Yeah, it's all spin zone. You know that his publicist was like there with him before the speech because they're like, well, you're probably going to win, so you're probably going to have to say something. And so
I just wish I was a fly on the wall of the decision makers at the Oscars of like, I think
Do we still go through with this?
I think he would have been asked to leave had he not been nominated and knew he was
Right.
going to
They
win.
did
Apparently
ask him to
he
leave,
was
though.
asked
We'll
to
circle
leave.
back
And
to
he
that here in a
refused.
second. We'll circle back to that actually in a second because there's a.
But I think he would have been forced to leave because there's just no way.
Yeah. So in the timeline of events, makes his acceptance speech. It's really uncomfortable. But they just give him the award anyways. And so then afterwards, it's like, okay, what do we do? What do we do? And so he goes to all the parties. We see, and I'm going to put this up here too, but basically him at, I think it's the Vanity Fair party, dancing to Getting Jiggy with It. So, he's having a good time, trying to avoid it. You can kind of see like people in the background are like a little bit uncomfortable. People taking pictures with their phones, and it's like
He's so tough.
yeah.
He also he self-sabotaged so hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
No one's going to remember him for winning Best Actor
Nope.
ever.
Yeah. It's rough. So there's that, and so then it's like everything kind of hits the fan. So the next day, he then releases a formal apology. And let me get it queued up here real quick. So basically he says, violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I'm embarrassed by my actions and were not indicative of the man I want to be. There's no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. I'd also like to apologize to the Academy, the producer of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the world. I would like to apologize to the Williams family and my King Richard family. I deeply regret that my behavior has stained what has been otherwise a gorgeous journey for all of us. I am a work in progress.
All brings up a great point. Andrew Garfield was the most relatable person in all of this because he was seen just like probably scrolling Twitter after. And then afterwards he comes up and he's like, oh my God, did that happen? I can't remember who he was talking to, but there's video of that. And it made me like Andrew Garfield even more. Just a normal guy that gets caught up in the drama.
Yeah.
love
Zoe Trope says mods.
Oh, we got some
Yeah.
mods.
Well, we got a
I think we got somebody in there trying to want to become
got a
famous,
bot.
buy followers,
Sell-
primes, and
sell
viewers.
followers.
We don't want to be famous. That's a lie. Kevin does. And then my mom's saying, I think there's a lot more to the story. Maybe the open marriage is taking toll on him. Maybe. But
the Jada portion of this is wild, and I don't even really want to comment on it
No.
because we can't really know.
Let's not.
But it's definitely a crazy part of the story.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
again, maybe, but you don't smack somebody. You don't walk on stage and smack somebody.
Yeah.
That's not an excuse.
Did we ever find out if Chris? And it doesn't really matter, but did Chris Rock write that joke?
no. There
I don't know.
was talk that it was
was
not
talk
on
that it
the
was-
teleprompter.
It was like
It was
ad-libbed.
ad-libbed, yeah. And it wasn't the fun. It's like it wasn't even a good joke. It was
Yeah, it was like tasteless for sure. Like probably not so much.
To me, it was like-
but like
I don't know. There's better jokes out there.
definitely.
Sure.
It was easy.
We all laughed. Like,
Oh,
you go back
absolutely.
and watch the reaction video. We all
We were
laughed. We
laughing
thought
at
it was
it.
funny.
We did.
I
did
didn't
laugh.
because I didn't
But
hear it.
Oh,
I
okay.
laughed. I also didn't know that she had alopecia.
I
So
didn't.
that
either.
I didn't
changes
either.
things for me a little bit. So
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I thought she was, and I even commented on the stream looking back. I was like, "Oh, Jada's very bald,"
Yeah.
but I didn't know that it wasn't her choice.
Yeah.
So
Weird Adult in the chat saying, perhaps not fair, but I read an article that the slap is consistent with Scientology behavior.
they are
I actually
you know
heard
they
about
like to slap.
Scientology. Yeah,
I actually saw an article about that,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it was real or not.
Yeah. So once that formal statement and apology comes out, there are some articles starting to circulate that's saying that Will Smith was formally asked to leave. So we have since come to find out that is actually not the case. He was not formally asked to leave. But essentially what had happened was that when Chris Rock went backstage, the LAPD were there and basically had to walk him through, say, if you want to press charges, we have to go arrest him right now. And so,
Man, that would have been exciting.
that would have been
my
wild.
God.
But of course, Chris Rock was like, no, I'm not going to press charges. And, so that didn't actually happen. So I think at one point, somebody, organizers asked Will if he wanted to leave, but he was never actually formally asked or required to leave.
Gotcha.
Only in the Hollywood bubble would he be asked if he wanted to leave.
Right.
My goodness.
Right.
He really ended up slapping the perfect.
Yeah.
He couldn't have slapped a better
buddy.
comedian to get away with it, because Chris Rock, like, very nice. He
He rolled with it perfectly.
Yeah.
Like,
Had he slapped somebody else, there's a good chance they would have done 5 minutes of just going all in on Jada and Will, and it would have been
Well, and that's what's
nightmare.
very interesting is after he gets slapped and Will yells at him, he goes, "Ooh, I could," and then he stops himself.
He doesn't.
I want him to know what he could.
I know.
Yeah. So Zoe's in the chat saying Chris Rock produced a documentary about black woman's hair, so I feel like he should know better than to make a joke about Jada's hair. Yeah, I've heard that take too. It makes sense.
The weird thing though is Will laughed hard at the joke.
Yeah.
I know. That's the I wish I was a fly on the wall for what went on in his brain in those that minute.
I wish there was a camera
He
that
laughed
stayed
because
on them.
well,
during
I mean,
that.
okay.
Because you see him laugh, it cuts away, and then the next thing you know, he's on stage.
Well, so
Something
you
changed.
see her give a huge eye roll
Yeah.
first,
for sure.
and then you see him laugh. And so I wonder if he then looked over and saw how furious she was about it. And then
As a male-
he got worked up. Yeah.
who
Yeah.
is not always thinking about everything that's going on in the moment.
Right.
If I hear something that I think is funny, I laugh. Then I
Yep.
look at my wife and I realize, oh, that's not funny to
Not
her for
okay.
these
Same.
reasons.
Yeah.
It is
And then
very
you
relatable.
overreact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't overreact because I too am a beta, but like
It is-
Yes. Right.
Will
It is-
Smith, just like I think that's what happened was he heard a joke, he
Yeah.
thought it was funny, he didn't piece together the baldness with the alopecia. He looked at Jada, realized everything that happened. She probably said something to him as well,
Yeah.
and then he overreacted.
Yeah.
I think if you cut out the slap, just have the yelling, you've got a much more appropriate response.
I think it's one or the other, man. I think if he goes up and slaps him and then just sits back down, it's just weird and everyone thinks it's a joke.
Yeah,
And then we
I agree.
move on. If he just yells, we can see that he's kind of upset, but then it's like, okay, he yells, like big deal. So
I don't know.
I think it's the
Physically
combination
assaulting
of both.
somebody though is way different than just yelling about it.
Oh, I agree. I totally
Like,
agree.
if you cut out the yelling and he just goes up and slaps him, like he's
I
still
think from
hit him.
Kenny's perspective,
I
he's
totally
just saying
agree with you.
it's much less weird for
Yeah,
everybody. Like you
right.
can move past it way quicker.
Right. I think
But
if
the fact that it
he-
was both of them in combination,
right.
Well,
just
I thought
made it so uncomfortable.
I first thought the slap was staged.
Yeah, we all did.
Right,
We all
it's
laughed at it.
staged.
If you
Yeah.
watch
I
the video, we
laughed
chuckled.
because
We're like, oh,
I
that's
like
funny.
slapstick humor.
Yeah.
And then
And unfortunately, the audio
then you
cut out
see
for us.
the audio
Yeah.
cut out, and I
But
thought
we-
it's Chris Rock being Chris Rock saying something off color because that's what
Mhm.
Chris Rock does. And
Right.
then I
Well, he
saw him
did.
yelling at him,
Right.
and I was
But I
like,
think-
"Oh no,
I think
that's
even
not."
if it was just a hit, like, and he didn't say anything else after that, I think in the following days we discover, oh, that was real.
Right.
For
We
sure.
really should not have done that.
Right. But
I think we'd still be in the same spot as we are now.
Here's the thing. I don't think we would be. I think we'd be in a little bit different of a spot. I agree with
Really?
you. It still would be wrong, and he would still probably be facing
I
disciplinary
agree with
action.
Penny here.
But I think that if he had just slapped him, went and sat back down, didn't yell anything, we would have had collectively, the people who were there and people watching would have had a different response because it'd be like, oh, that was probably a joke because he's not just going to go up and slap. And then the rest of the night would go on. We would have forgotten that he slapped him, honestly. I think everybody would have just wouldn't have thought about it. And then if it comes out a couple of days later, then it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know that was...
That's weird.
That's
And
really
then you
weird.
move on.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
That's my take.
because I
Yeah.
didn't feel awkward about it until the yelling happened.
Right.
Yeah,
That's when
So it's-
that's
what
when
you guys-
my
so
whole
what you're
demeanor
saying,
changes.
it's all about the collective feeling and emotion,
exactly.
not so much like the aftermath.
Right, because if you go back and watch our reaction video, he slaps him, and then we all laugh.
Right.
And then it's not until
We all
like
thought
a
it
few
was a
seconds
bit.
later
We
That's
thought it was
true.
a
that we're
bit.
like, oh, what is going on?
We start reading Will Smith's lips, and we're like, oh, he's dropping F-bombs at Chris Rock right now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You see Mob go, he just said, yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great clip. Go watch it because it's our genuine reaction to it.
Once the yelling happens, that's when all of our demeanor changes.
All the air got sucked out of because it was a long hour and a half after that because it was like,
Yes.
what do we do now?
Yeah.
We
Like,
can't talk about what's going on.
I don't know what happened between then and when he accepted for Best Actor. Like, I
'Cause
don't
we
know
were
what
all
any
just
of
waiting
stuff
for that.
was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So many
Like
people won
Questlove-
awards and nobody
Questlove had to
remembers.
give that speech like 30 seconds later.
And
I feel
all
bad
I
for
was
him.
And nobody
focused on-
cared about it.
All
Yeah.
I was focused on was Chris Rock in the periphery going like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they like cut him out because like they were like, we have to get him out. We have to let Questlove have his time.
Right. Yeah. Zoe's in the chat said Chris Rock handled it so well. I totally agree. I think where I'm at is I am anxiously waiting to hear what Chris Rock says because I think it's going to put some serious perspective on it. I think that's my personal opinion. And then Zoe also said, I heard a take from Kid Fury from the Reed podcast that if he was going to slap him, he should have waited to do it backstage simply so people wouldn't be talking about it for weeks after. Yeah. Agreed.
It was a heat of the moment thing.
Yeah, you can't really argue with that. That's a
But can
pretty
we-
solid take.
Can we also like acknowledge that for a while now, it seemed like Will Smith isn't in his right headspace?
Yeah.
Like, and this isn't saying, oh, this gives him free reign to go slap whoever he wants. He shouldn't
No,
have done that.
But
Right.
it can explain it.
But
Yeah.
like,
And that's kind of what
I think that's the
I
difference
think
here
life has
between
been weird
slapping
for him
behind
lately.
backstage and on the stage.
Yeah.
Like
I think his marriage has probably taken a toll, and
he's been in the limelight since how old? How old was he? Like when he
Was
started
he a teenager?
Fresh Prince?
He was like, 19, I think, when he first
So-
got big.
and he's been a star since then, right?
Yeah.
So
He's been
like it's
he
been
might
a
be
while.
arguably the biggest star for that period of time over that, because he's had longevity and staying power over that for the most part until the last like 5 or 6 years. He's started to tail off a little, but
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Will Smith made a movie in the 90s and 2000s, it broke the box office every time.
Yeah.
He was the biggest star.
He was the
world.
highest grossing star
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and-
maybe that's just taking a toll on him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah,
But you
that
still
was
don't
kind of
slap
my
people.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was
don't-
kind of
don't slap
right.
people.
That was kind of my mom's point in the chat, and I agree with
Yeah.
it totally. It's like yeah, there's
100%.
probably a lot going on there, but at the same time, you don't slap people.
I'd like to commend Chris Rock for physically absorbing the slap as well as he did. He
Am-
didn't
am
even
I-
really. He just pivoted
kinda
on one
moved
foot and
with
kind
it,
of went
yeah.
like that.
Am
Yeah.
I
He
the
didn't
only
fall
one?
backwards? It was
Am I
impressive.
the only one who, from the camera angle, it almost looks like he's like leaning forward
Yes.
for it?
I
Yeah.
think
It looks
he
like
thought-
he
That's why I
was-
thought it was fake.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Chris thought that Will Smith was going to say something,
Yeah.
and so he was maybe like
Yep,
leaning
that makes
forward, like,
sense.
"Hey, I got to get him in the mic," but he ended up he did. And the slap is funny too because he doesn't just move his arm; he kind of like throws his hand at him. So
Yeah.
it's such a good, powerful slap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that Chris Rock's leaning in and not expecting it is a
Yeah.
perfect storm. We'll never
Yeah.
see anything like it again.
Yeah. And then Maul in the chat saying he probably would have calmed down if you waited and realized you don't slap people, but nope. Yeah. And then Weird Adult brings up a really good point that we talked about a lot and nobody else seemed to notice. Sometime after the slap, there was some very awkward camera switching, which I think was caused by a nip slip ?
Yeah.
That totally got put under.
There's
covered
also,
up.
if you go back, there's also a live reaction to that. We're sitting
Bob's
like,
reaction is
what is
hilarious.
the Oscars doing? And then all of a sudden I go,
Right.
I
So
didn't even
and
realize
Kenny goes,
what
there was a nip
going
slip.
on.
Yeah, I noticed it. I saw it. So it was. I believe it was
Venus
Serena.
Williams.
It was Venus.
It was Venus.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Venus.
So her dress, like they kind of come off. It was during Will Smith's acceptance speech, and like her dress, had kind
They
of
were
slid
showing the
down,
Williams
and they brought up
family.
like the Oscars prompt to.
So
to-
her dress was cut like this,
Yeah.
and my nipples right here.
Yeah.
It was cut like this,
Yeah.
and during the speech, the cut was right here,
Yeah.
and my nipples right here.
Yeah. It
This
was
was a good breakdown.
Yeah, and we noticed it, and we were like, surprisingly, nothing has been said about it. But
Yeah, in a strange way, this was very good for Venus because there was not.
I mean,
Well, because
it's
the
also not the
weirdest,
first time it's happened.
the weirdest
Well,
speech of the
yeah.
night was
There's been
happening
lots of-
during it.
yeah,
It was very uncomfortable.
was-
The
yeah.
fact that the most uncomfortable speech was happening in coordination with a wardrobe malfunction was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. Zoe says, "Poor Questlove." Agreed. Questlove.
Yep.
deserves-
Yeah, Quest got
Yeah.
screwed.
Yeah.
Really, everybody between that and Will Smith's acceptance speech got screwed.
Yeah.
Yep.
So really that brings us to where we're at today. So as of last night, Will Smith officially resigned from the Academy.
Good for him. He got his
Yeah.
Academy and then just dipped. Doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
I think,
Mhm.
or I was just gonna say. So I feel like ultimately both dudes have done very well this week. Like I think it took Will Smith a little bit of time, but I think resigning and apologizing the other day was good. And I think the way that Chris Rock has handled it this whole week has been very like reasonable, mature. So I think hats off to him.
Yeah.
All resigning means that the Academy was probably going to suspend him or expel him.
For sure,
He just
but-
got out in front of it and resigned.
I think
He was
that's
going to
a
get
good
suspended
move,
at
though.
least.
Yeah.
but
And
like,
they were
what does
talking
resigning
expulsion.
from the Academy do?
So essentially what it means
It means
is,
he can't be nominated
no,
for awards
that's no,
anymore,
that's
right?
not true. So
Oh.
essentially what it means is that he no longer has a say in anything Academy related. So he can no longer vote. He can no longer attend
Oh,
award
well, then
ceremonies
It's not even a thing.
unless he's invited directly. So
And he's going to be invited next year. Like I think what you said during the show is going to happen next year. Like unless Chris Rock comes out and says I'm like effing done with Will Smith, I think they're going to have them like present
They're going to
something together
capitalize
next
on
year.
this.
They'll figure
somehow.
something out.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I think it'll be. I don't know. It may just be too soon. I don't see him being at the Academy Awards next year. But I do see some sort of joke with Chris Rock where maybe he comes out in like boxing gear or something like that. So yeah, so
watch
Will
them
Smith-
like honor the movie Ali, and he comes
Yeah.
out with his boxing gloves on and beats up Chris Rock.
So Will Smith is still eligible to be nominated and win awards through the Academy, but he can no longer vote, and he no longer. Well, the real sad news: he'll no longer get the screeners.
Oh no!
That's devastating.
Weird adult in the
I,
chat. No screeners for Will.
I wonder what this means for his career, because he already was not getting the roles he used to get.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to think this if he doesn't put out a movie in the next 12 to 18 months, I won't be surprised.
No, he won't. He's done for a while.
Well, he's going to take a back seat. He'll come back and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Like of all the egregious things that you get like suspended for the
Right.
Academy for,
Mhm.
like this, and that's the thing is like the Academy's like acting like they're all high and mighty, but they gave an Oscar to Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so like of
Yeah.
all the things to do, like
All the people that have won Oscars
not
are
a great thing,
dirtbags.
but also
Yeah.
like
I think what needs to happen, and I think will happen with time, is that perspective needs to be kind of laid in. So right now, everything's still really fresh. I think that with a little bit of time, a little bit of perspective for not just Will Smith and Chris Rock, but like everybody, and we'll kind of step back and be like, okay, it wasn't good, but like, let's be honest here. Like, the
It's not
reason
the
why it's
worst
so
thing that
shocking
we've
is
ever
because
heard of.
everyone saw it, and it was right in front of everybody's face
Yeah.
to see. So it's a little different than like, Woody Allen or Roman Polanski,
Being
even
creeps.
though what they've done is
I would say way worse.
Much more
you wouldn't even
serious.
say it is like
It's definitely
so I could see in a few years Will Smith being kind of back in people's good graces, but I don't know.
The
But
funny
I still
thing is
like
all
Will
the
Smith.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tom. Like I think that one of the biggest things, I think where I was at with it, why I was shook for a few days, is because like I feel bad for him. Like
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
Yeah,
not
me.
to-
So do I, which is weird.
Yeah.
right. And
Normally, you don't
that's
feel
not
bad
to-
for the assaulter.
Exactly. And that's not to justify the behavior. I'm not going to say, well, like Chris Rock shouldn't be running his mouth. Chris Rock made a joke. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's a joke.
But if we're gonna slap people for bad jokes, man, at the Oscars, they're
Right.
the
Why
awards
wasn't
that
Wanda
this
Sykes
slap
slapped?
covered up.
Yeah.
This was a terrible award show, in my opinion. The hosts were bad.
Yes.
It was formatted poorly. The way they pre-filmed everything was so awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Like this covered up for so many things that I think was just
Yeah.
like they don't seem to care about making it about rewarding the movies. They just want all the other crap that goes along with it.
Sure.
And I am growing tired of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And I
with
think
you.
a lot of people are probably.
Agreed.
Yeah. Zoe says, didn't Adrian Brody kiss Halle Berry or something without consent when he won his Oscar for Pianist and nobody really cared? Yeah, you're absolutely right. It would
Yeah,
be a
he
much
did.
bigger
Oh, I forgot about
deal
that.
now, I think.
Mhm.
Things aren't picked apart on Twitter like they are.
Right. And Zoe's
now.
also saying, yes,
Watch.
not enough people talking about how bad the award show was. And the slaps
The-
saved the show from being boring.
and that's why
The
a lot of
whole
people thought it was
COVID
staged. But
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Like
No
Wanda
chance.
Sykes was terrible, in my opinion.
Mhm.
The whole COVID joke where I'm forgetting who it was, pulled up all the men off the stage and was like, "I'm going to test you and like violate your body." that lasted so long and was so uncomfortable, and people are just going to forget that now.
Yeah.
I hope Chris Rock hosts next year. That would be amazing. That'd be a huge upgrade.
Here's what I think. Here's my personal opinion on it. And this it doesn't really have to do too much with the slap. It's more just like in general. I want my old Oscars back. I want it to be the long, boring show that it was.
Yes.
I don't need it to be fresh. People who are watching the Oscars aren't watching it to be fresh. Like, the Oscars has been one thing for a long time, and then in the past, 40 years, it's like, well, let's switch it up, make it more exciting. And so then
They're
you
trying
get...
to be more like the Globes.
Yeah, and then you get freaking Flash entering the Speed Force or whatever the hell it was.
Oh,
just
my gosh.
give me some classic Billy Crystal or Steve Martin hosting.
Yeah.
Or both. Or
Chris Rock. Heck,
Chris
I
Rock
like Jimmy Kimmel.
was awesome. Jimmy
Kimmel was
great.
fine.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's like the Oscars are a classy event, and it's like I don't want it to be like made hip and cool. I want it to be the slow, boring show that
I
it's
want it
always
to be the
been.
gala. I want it to be the gala. Yeah.
And I don't want
why we've got
people
the others.
dancing during an in memoriam. Like, what was that?
Yeah,
It's
like I wouldn't say it's disrespectful. It just like the show the past few years has just seemed more like
they're trying to cater to a younger audience, and it's just not.
Yeah.
That's not going to draw people.
Right.
Like, they got the attention this year, but the show was a train wreck.
Yeah,
It was still 3.5 hours.
It was still so
long.
Yeah, here's the worst part is that like there's people like not just us, but like so many people are going to say these exact same things and they're not going to change it.
Right.
They're going to keep doing it the same way they've been doing it the last few years. It's just going to keep sucking.
I think I said it on the stream, but I really missed the old seating setup where you had to awkwardly file out through the rows, and I didn't like how they were sitting at tables. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah,
and I get they were probably trying to distance a little. Not that I think it mattered, but
yeah,
I think that they're trying to Golden Globes the Oscars, which
that's what made the Golden Globes fun, is because it was kind of a disaster of a night, and then you knew you had the Oscars to like be the pristine gala that it was.
Let them both be what they are. Like, that's how I feel about it. We don't need to change it.
If it gets too Golden Globes-y, then we're not going to be able to watch it in the next few years because it's going to be so corrupt.
Yeah, right.
It won't even be on TV.
So
they need to trim an hour off the runtime too. 3.5 hours is too long.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with making it shorter, but I'm not okay with. I'm not okay with
cut out the musical performances. Cut out the 10-minute long monologues of terrible jokes. Make it about the movies. Dedicate. I'd rather see clips of Best Picture nominees in between than performances by artists I don't care about and Wanda Sykes making a terrible joke.
And why was it necessary for her to like do a tour of the museum? Like,
it was
I
not
don't care about that
at all.
It wasn't. That is the Academy being the Academy and being like, hey, we have this cool, pretty toy. We're going to make everyone enjoy it as much as we enjoy
that a majority of this country does not care about.
Correct.
Yeah, for sure.
Zoe makes a good point there.
Yeah. Zoe says, maybe worth noting that the primary producer of this year's Oscars was the guy who also produced Girls Trip. So fair point.
Really, all you need to say, to be honest.
It's true.
It covers everything that we just talked about.
Well, shoot, man, we're already at an hour, so we should probably get.
And I've got so much more to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a part 2 next week.
Well,
I'm tired. I'm exhausted. The slap has worn me out.
Yeah, Jonesy Joe says y'all need to get some perspective on the Oscars and go watch them from the early days to see how much they've changed.
Right.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, what do you mean? Like, we've been watching the Oscars for years. I mean, I don't know. I know how much they've changed. It's been a drastic change in the past 5 years. So
that's what we're saying.
Yeah,
we don't like it.
We don't like it. Yeah, we don't like.
We're
the change.
old men yelling at clouds right now.
Yeah,
change it back and stay off my lawn.
Yeah. So anyways, enough of that. Let's move on. Yeah. I think what we needed today was a good sit down and chat sesh because we've all probably been thinking about it all week and we just need to talk to each other. And I think we got that out of the way. I think we're all going to feel better now. So let's move on to some movie anniversaries.
I just do want to say one more thing.
Okay.
Bring the heat.
How does Chris Rock get better looking with every single day? Like, he gets younger and younger and younger and younger and younger and younger. And I'm so jealous. Yeah. Like, they showed, because I was just watching clips of him when he hosted it, because they were showing that, like, the joke he made about Jada this week. And then to him, like, presenting this Oscars, he looks so much better. Yeah. I'm just so jealous. That's it.
It's money.
Yeah.
That's what
he's a good looking guy.
A bit of money and tailored suits and clothes that fit better.
Yeah, and then my mom says they were classier back in the day. Well, yeah, we agree with you. We
That's what we
totally
want.
agree, and that's what we want.
I want the
was
classy
nice.
event.
We don't want the fun.
Just all the things that got
TikTok-worthy
overshadowed.
event.
Like, I'm mad that my girl Jessica Chastain's not getting the love that she deserves.
Agreed.
I'm mad that the In Memoriam got weirdly overshadowed by this whole thing. I'm mad that Questlove's speech got totally jacked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So many things. Coda should be a much bigger talking point because it's a huge upset that it beat Power of the Dog, but
Oh,
nobody's
yeah,
talking
absolutely.
about
Nobody's
that.
talking about it.
And
It's
like the
just gonna be
barriers
forgotten
that it
about.
broke down, and
Hashtag save my Oscars. Let's get that started. All right. Well, Tom, let's get into these movie anniversaries. Nobody's allowed to say
I
anything
guess.
else, okay?
I'll tell you what, boys. April sucks for movie releases, so we got some real stinkers here.
What are you talking about? Morbius came out.
I'm also just worked up.
I can't wait for 5 years from now when we can talk about Morbius on the
Ugh.
anniversaries.
Yeah. Well,
The pickings are slim.
Morbius review coming to Cork Bats within the next couple of days, so be on the lookout for that. Anyways, continue, Tom.
Yes.
Alrighty, happy 5-year anniversary to The Fate of the Furious. Whoop-de-doo.
Which one was that?
Which number was that?
7?
8.
8. Okay.
8.
That's fate.
Boo.
Happy 10-year anniversary to American Reunion, because that was something we needed in 2012.
Is that an American Pie movie?
Yeah, it was the
Uh-huh.
fourth one.
Uh,
It was the high school reunion.
another
Ever
banger.
since American Reunion.
Yep. Whoop-de-doo. Happy 25-year anniversary to Anaconda.
Nice.
My Anaconda.
Man, this
jump.
was a brutal week.
Yeah.
Brutal week for movies.
And guess what? It's
5,
only
10,
going to get worse.
Sweet, man. Sweet. Well, good stuff. Well, guys, I think that's pretty much it. I think we're done today. Thanks for hanging with us. We went a little long, but that's all right. It's okay to go long if you're having fun. Thank you to our new subscribers, Mr. Rema and Mall Ceramics. We really appreciate the subscriptions. You can subscribe too if you want, or you can just follow. Following's free, but subscribing helps us financially.
I'm excited to get back to some silliness next week. This
Yeah.
was far too serious for my
Yeah,
taste.
it was real like sit
Good
down, let's
content,
talk.
though.
Yeah,
I loved it.
the tint was good. Is that a thing?
tint.
All right,
It is now.
everybody in our
I don't know.
chat, Maul, Zoe, Mom, Weird Adult. Who else was here today? I know there was
100%
more.
true.
100% true.
Yep.
And then there was that one 6666661.
a lot of sixes.
If we forgot you were here, we're so sorry. But thanks everybody for joining us. We had a great time. Be sure to listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Anywhere you get your podcasts, you can find us. This episode should be up by the end of the day. Also, consider subscribing to the Corkbats YouTube page. And then, of course, consider following us here on Twitch and also subscribing to us here on Twitch. We'd really appreciate that. You can also join our Discord. Links below. You can also type !Discord if you need the link in our Twitch chat. And you can join us there. And then, yeah, social media at CineBoiz on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow Corked Bats at Corked Bats on Twitter and Instagram. And, of course, visit corkbats.com. We got a few new movie reviews out this week for Lost City and X, so you can go check those out on corkbats.com. And then we'll have a review for Morbius up in the next couple of days as well. Guys, is there anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to plug?
Nah.
No.
No? Okay. Well, then we're done here. Bye, everybody.
Excellent.